Lesson 9-8, Example 2. Our objective here is to find the circumference of a circle. And circumference is just the distance around a circle. So as we go around the circle, that distance there, that's the circumference. And we can abbreviate that with a capital C. You'll often see that abbreviated that way. And one of the other terms that comes up a lot with circles is pi. And pi can be written as the Greek letter pi as well. Those mean the same thing. And pi is just a ratio. Pi is a ratio of the circumference to the diameter. And the diameter for this circle will be right here. And abbreviate that with a small letter d. So we could write this as a ratio. We could say circumference to diameter equals pi. So pi is the ratio of the circumference to the diameter. And pi, if you work that out to be a number, interestingly enough, for all circles, the ratio of the circumference to the diameter is pi, which, when you figure that out, is usually 3.1459265, and it goes on forever. Pi is called an irrational number. It never ends. We typically, when we use pi, we will just go out to a few decimal places, so oftentimes you'll see it as 3 and 1400ths or 22 sevenths. Both ways are often how they're used for approximating pi. Now when you're using this, if you want to, you can also use this information to determine either your circumference or your diameter. In this case, we're going to see if we can use this information here to come up with our circumference. Well, we know, if I said this, if we know that 6 divided by 2, just using this as an example, let's say you know this. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And I also know that if I take this is division here, so if I take this 3 or this 2 and move it over to the other side, I can say that 6 is equal to 3 times 2. I think you would agree with that. Well, I can use that same thinking with this. So I have circumference divided by the diameter equaling pi. Well, if I take this diameter, this is division here, and I want to undo that, so I end up with circumference equaling pi times the diameter. And this is the formula that we're going to use to help find what the circumference of a circle is. Pi times the diameter. Now sometimes you may want to just estimate a circumference. You may want to estimate for a couple of reasons. Either an estimate is just close enough to what you need, you do not need an exact answer, or you could use an estimate to help you when you determine an exact answer to see if your exact answer is reasonable based upon your estimate. So let's say we have this problem here. A skydiver is laying out a circular target for his next jump. Estimate the circumference of the target by rounding pi to 3. So pi, remember, is that number that goes out forever, but it's pretty close. Even in the most part, 3 and 1400ths, which we use, is very close to 3. So for an estimate, I can just think of pi as 3. Well, so we remember that circumference equals pi times the diameter. So I can say that circumference equals pi, and our diameter here is 8 feet. And I'm using pi, I'm saying that's 3, so I'm going to substitute 3 there. And I know my diameter is 8, so now I have 3 times 8, and 3 times 8 is 24. Feet is our unit. So our circumference, our distance around the circle, in this case, is about 24 feet, approximately. I could use that, just say approximately.